Okay, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some examples of finding arc length and sector area when you're given the measure of an angle in radians, okay? So the first couple of examples we're going to look at involve arc length. Remember, the formula to find arc length when you're given radians is you multiply the length of the radius times the measure of the angle in radians, okay? Because remember, the measure of the angle in radians is basically the fraction that you'd be going around the circle. So the arc length, when you've got a radius of 8 inches, would be 8 in this case, and the angle of the sector is 5 pi over 6, so it'd be 8 times 5 pi over 6. Okay, guys? Now realize that this fraction is going to simplify. That becomes 4 over 3, so you'd have 20 pi over 3 inches, and it's okay to leave it in terms of pi. I'm just going to leave it in terms of pi right now, and we can leave it as a fraction, okay? All right, so now let's look at arc length when your radius is 8 and the angle of the sector is 7 pi over 4. So again, arc length is the length of the radius times the measure of the angle in radians. So it's going to be 8 times 7 pi over 4. And obviously, 8 divided by 4 is 2. And if I multiply that out, I'm going to get 14 pi inches. Okay, guys? So that would be your arc length of the second example there. Okay, guys? If I look at this third example, it says now we're dealing with sector area. And remember, sector area is going to be 1/2 the radius squared times the angle in radians. Okay, guys, so I'm given a radius of 5 inches and the angle of the sector is 2 pi over 3. So the area is going to be 1/2 5 squared times 2 pi over 3. Okay, well, conveniently, the 1/2 and the 2 are going to cancel out. So you're going to be left with 25 pi over 3 inches squared. Okay, because remember, it's area, you're dealing with square units. All right, and then finally, our last example, find the area of a sector if the radius of a circle is 5 inches and the angle is 2 pi over 5. So area is 1/2 radius squared times the angle in radians. So area is 1/2 5 squared times 2 pi over 5. So again, your 2's are going to cancel out, and you would get 25 pi over 5, but let's go ahead and simplify that to 5 pi inches squared. So there you go, guys. That's how you find arc length and sector area when you're given the measure of an angle in radians.